The worst incident India was talking about the last couple of weeks was the Salman Rushdie's visit to India in connection with the Jaipur Literary Festival. He was finally denied access to India. Not even his video link was forced to be stopped by a group of protesters. So what is really the thought that what is our, where do our tolerance levels stand at this particular point? When we have a certain faith and if somebody questions our faith, what we have to do is to listen to them and understand what they are talking. And if you find your faith is not shaken, keep it alive, and that's all. When we are in childhood, when people in our school days, we are often teased with different types of nicknames. Some of them we do not ever like to hear from others. But what an intelligent person do is you'll keep mum, let them talk. After some time, when they are fed up with saying this and when they do not get any particular response, that particular name goes vanish because you are not anymore responding to it. Likewise, in this case also, the freedom of pen is the most important thing that one has to ensure in a democratic and secular society. Every person has the right to express his views either through writings or through speeches. It becomes inflammatory or derogatory when it is clearly abusing a person by his character or by his name. If that is the case, then you can say that it is a piece of abuse. But criticism is something different. If you can criticize a person formally without actually abusing them, everyone can come out with criticism without an abusive suggestion in it. So Salman Rushdie has written a novel which some people they find it clearly an inflammatory one and abusing their religion. But when we talk about the content of the book, it doesn't have much to. We cannot really see it as an abusive in nature. It's actually a criticism of certain beliefs in a particular section of people, to a section of religion. And Salman Rushdie, for some people, is not the best novelist, but just like some of the personalities, not this controversy would help his publishers introduce more books into the stores because the demand has become rampant. Every controversy actually supports these kinds of promotions. The controversy turned out to be a promotion, in fact. But people actually compare him with M.F.Husain. When we actually view M.F.Husain's paintings, they are really showing a kind of abusive remark. In painting also you can criticize, but that shouldn't be a kind of physical criticism. If you see M.F.Husain's paintings, they are physically, he has drawn the paintings of some of the goddesses of the Hinduism. So that clearly becomes derogatory in nature and abusive, as I earlier said. But in Salman Rushdie's work, there is no physical abuse. What we can see is a clear piece of criticism. But some people are actually against this. The writers like Chetan Bhagat came out against Salman Rushdie, saying that person did not have the right to hurt the sentiments of people. But when we actually study history, we have seen some of the customs which were clearly based on religion had been banned because they were found out to be superstitious. For example, the religious custom of sati was once thought to be a religious tribute that a wife can give to her dead husband. But which was, at that time, if you say sati is not a good religious practice, that would have become blasphemous in nature. But nowadays it is not, because that has been clearly acknowledged as a bad custom. So So we are not sure whether our beliefs are right or not. So when a person come out with a new theory, we have to actually listen to it, because whatever we believe is restricted to a certain limitation, restricted to the knowledge what we know until now, and anything can change. Any new theory can come, which can replace the existing theories. So we cannot clearly close all the doors and live in a shelter where we have a certain beliefs and we are not ready to change it, because the society is always subject to new theories, new findings, new revolutions should come. Just like I would like to paraphrase George Bernard Shaw. He once said, "All great truths begin as blasphemies." In fact, in the earlier periods of history, we know that the people, or majority of section, had believed that the earth is the center of the universe and the sun is revolving around the earth. But when people, eminent scientists like Galileo, Bruni, came against it and said that no, you're wrong, it's actually the earth which is revolving around the sun. So at that time the church considered it as blasphemous, and Bruni was burnt alive. He was the first martyr of science. But it was later found out to be a mistake from the church part, and Pope had expressed his apology to that scientist. But whatever lost is lost. We cannot lament more on that. There is no benefit of lamenting on that also. So at this time, if what Rushdie says is true, and after 100 or 10,000 or 100,000 years, if somebody finds, or the majority of people acknowledges him, and if they find that whatever he said was true, then at this point we will have to go for future thinking, or we have to foresee that what we are doing right today is a mistake, is a big mistake, because we are actually denying his freedom of expression. But actually we are not. Virtually we are not doing it, because we can't do that, because we have a very vast source of internet where he can record whatever he has to say and applaud in wherever he wish, and we can see this. But it's and also he has come to visited India so many times, and at that time there was nothing like this. There was no issue. But this time it might be politically motivated, because the Uttar Pradesh elections are going on one side. So people want to get the minority appeasement. So maybe some interest may be there, ulterior people playing cards with ulterior motives of, driving more votes into their ballot. So this may also be politically motivated. But whatever, at the end of the day, when we analyze this particular thing, we are more concerned about the freedom of expression in a democratic country like India. When somebody introduces something very close to a fatwa, saying that he cannot enter India. So this kind of a parallel religious judiciary system is extremely unbecoming of a democratic country like India, where different religious people with different religious beliefs stay together. So one section, if every religious section introduces its own judicial system, then it becomes really difficult when it comes a conflict between people of different ethnicity come to conflict. Then it becomes really difficult to decide which religious custom we need to follow. So such a kind of establishment is not advisory for a country like India. You can come out and go to court if you have any complaint. What the urban such people should have done is that they should have approached the court asking them that we find his works blasphemous and we need to block him. Then the court has to decide what to do. But when you say that his work is blasphemous, his work has to be banned, it is already banned in India. So it is so illogical to block a person. What we need is we need to block his work if you find it so difficult to conceive, and not the person himself. This has earlier happened when people had come against the Bangladesh writer Taslima Nasrin when she came out with Lajja, which people found it derogatory for some section. So this is happening everywhere in the world. Whenever people like Richard Dawkins writes books on atheism, some of the section want to ban it. But see, Western world is having much more wider view on the freedom of pen, because his works are not banned at all. His books are the bestsellers in some places. So we cannot clearly, as I earlier said, we cannot close all the doors. Being a society, we are living in a society. We are not living in an isolated system. So that becomes really difficult. That's what we have to look ahead, is to ensure the freedom of pen. Whoever wishes to write anything on anyone can write it in a critique, in a perspective of a critic, and not with an ulterior motive of abusing that person.